Hey guys, in this video we're going to learn about a specific problem that happens with blood typing. It's called hemolytic disease of the newborn. Remember, so that sometimes means that you could end up with a baby, a fetus inside the mom that has a different blood type to the mom and potentially is not compatible with the mom. So that's what we're going to be talking about when we're talking about hemolytic disease of the newborn. So in case you didn't watch the other video, remember that you can use your Punnett squares to work out, if you know the mom's blood type and the dad's blood type, what the potential blood types of the babies are, okay? So remember, we talked about how you could be big A, that would mean you were type A, or you could be big A with a blank, that you're still type A with that one. If you're type AB, if your genotype's AB, you are type AB. And if you have no antigen flags for A, you don't have the cell, so then you are going to be type O, okay? So remember, we've no control over which parents are getting together, who's getting together with who. So sometimes the mom and the baby have incompatible blood types. So actually, what you may not realize is that incompatible blood types is actually the cause of many miscarriages. For a lot of women who lose a baby early in a pregnancy, it's because they were pregnant with a baby that has a blood type that is incompatible with them, and that baby cannot go to term. So the hospital has to be really careful with this. And the big problem is, remember one of our rules, which says you cannot put positive into negative. Remember that? That was one of our rules of blood typing. So if you have a mom who's negative and a dad who's positive, there is a 50% chance that the baby could be negative, and there's a 50% chance that the baby could be positive. So here's your mom. Bad drawing of a pregnant lady, all right? And so this lady is pregnant with the baby. So if the baby is in here and positive and the mom is negative, have we just broken one of our big rules of blood typing? Yes, we have. Because remember, our rule said you cannot put positive into negative. Now, the good thing is, if this is the first baby, the mom's blood and the baby's blood do not mix during the pregnancy. Remember, the placenta is where things are swapping over. So actually, the mom is not in contact with this baby's blood while the baby is developing. But remember that when the baby's being born, there is a mixing of the mom's blood and the baby's blood. And then that's where the problem starts. So remember, the only reason that you develop antibodies is if you get exposed to the wrong blood. So when the mom gives birth to that first baby that's positive, then her body is going to make these antibodies that attack and kill positive babies. So remember, if she's still with the same guy for her second pregnancy, she will have a 50% chance again of having a positive baby. And the second time it's going to be a problem because now she has these antibodies which attack and kill positive babies. So the first thing to remember about hemolytic disease of the newborn is that the first baby is never affected. The first baby is always going to be fine because the mom will not make the antibodies until later. So remember, we're following our blood typing rule, which says you may not put positive into a negative. So remember, the only time you're ever going to have a problem is if you have a mother who is negative that's pregnant with a positive baby. So remember, can you put positive into positive? Yes. Can you put negative into positive? Yes. So if you have a positive baby inside a positive mom, no problem. If you have a negative baby inside a positive mom, no problem. So this is where you're going to have your problem. If your mom is negative and your baby is positive. So remember, at the start for the first pregnancy, this positive baby is inside the uterus and the bloods are kept separate. So the mom is not going to make the antibodies until she gives birth to this first baby. But then for all future babies, this is going to be a big problem because now she's going to have antibodies which attack and kill positive babies. So if we don't prevent the formation of these antibodies, all future positive babies will be attacked and killed. So this woman might want to have more babies in the future. So we want to make sure that she doesn't make these antibodies and that she's going to be able to have as many children as she wants to. So when you get pregnant, they find out your blood type, they find out the dad's blood type, and if they find out that you are negative, the female's negative, and the male is positive, then they know that there may be a problem. Because if the dad is positive and the mom is negative, then you have a 50-50 shot that this baby could end up being positive. So as she's pregnant with the first baby, we need to give her a medication, and the medication's called RhoGAM. And RhoGAM prevents the formation of antibodies against positive babies. So if you're pregnant and you're negative and the dad is positive, then you got to take this RhoGAM. They give it to you a couple of times before you give birth to the baby, and this RhoGAM medication prevents the formation of the antibodies. So that means that if you want to have a second child with the dad who is positive, you will not have the antibodies. The RhoGAM prevents you from making these antibodies, so that then you're able to go ahead and have further children, further positive babies in the future. And if you're negative and the dad is positive, for every baby you want to have, child number 2, child number 3, child number 4, child number 5, you're going to have to get this RhoGAM treatment every time, because the RhoGAM is what protects the future babies number 2, 3, and 4, and 5, from being attacked by these antibodies. So it's never a problem for the first baby. The problems start with baby number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the way to prevent problems is to use this treatment, RhoGAM, which prevents the formation of the antibodies, and then that allows you to have more pregnancies where you've got a positive baby inside a negative mom. So the key things to remember here is that if your mom is negative and your baby's positive, you're breaking a rule of blood typing, because our rule says you may not put positive into negative. So that will lead to consequences. So after the baby's born, the mom's blood and the baby's blood mixes up, and the mom is exposed to the positive blood, and she makes the antibodies which attack the positive babies of the future. So if you use the RhoGAM, you prevent the formation of the antibodies, and that means it's safe to have a second child, a third child, and so on. So remember, your rules of blood typing are solid. If your mom is negative, you can't put positive babies inside. It's going to create problems down the line. And remember, the first baby is never affected. It's going to be babies 2, 3, 4, and so on that are going to have the issues if you don't get the RhoGAM treatment. So they're pretty good about checking moms and dads and babies' blood types to make sure that they know if this is going to be a problem, to ensure that the woman gets the treatment she needs so she can enjoy as many healthy babies as she wants to. So hemolytic disease is only going to be a problem when you break your rule of blood typing. So it's only a problem when the So now we have a 50-50 shot of a positive baby or a negative baby. A negative baby is no problem, because remember, you are allowed to put a negative into negative. A positive baby, this is going to be a problem, because now you've broken your rule of blood. In fact, I think it's frozen. All right, so you're putting your positive inside your negative, and that is a problem, because this is one of the rules of blood typing. You cannot put positives inside negatives. And remember, the first baby is always fine. So it's good to be the first baby, but babies 2, 3, 4, and so on, they're going to have problems if you don't get the correct treatment, the RhoGAM. Okay. All right. So that's hemolytic disease of newborn. And that is the end of our presentations about blood typing. So hopefully it's making sense to you. And if not, come and ask me or come and ask our TAs during Open Lab. We'll be very happy to explain any parts of this blood typing extravaganza to you. And it's really important to know this stuff because, like I said, it's life or death when you're in the hospital if you give somebody the wrong blood.